Now to today's segment, looking at what we at i24 News call the bright side. Now, these are difficult times for all of us, dealing with adversity and the isolation imposed by the pandemic. Now, certainly one group of people very used to dealing with adverse personal conditions and overcoming them every day of their lives are special needs athletes, especially those who compete at the top level of their sports. Now, some of the Israel Special Olympic athletes are offering up their hard-earned experience to others, even if, like all athletes now, they're contending with the limitations imposed by the coronavirus restrictions. And joining us now in studio is Sharon Levy-Balanga. She's the Chief Executive Officer of Special Olympics Israel. Sharon, thanks for joining us. Anyone who follows Special Olympics knows that Israel is really exceptional given its size in the achievements of the special needs athletes. So they've shown that they can excel in dealing, as I said, under adverse conditions daunting to most. So what sort of lessons or rules are they offering now in terms of, I think, social media, I believe, to fellow Israelis?
Well, we asked our athletes to share with us on social media what unified means to them, the unified message. It's our flagship program where athletes with and without intellectual disabilities play together as teammates. And they held the unified symbol and shared their messages of hope, how we will see better days and we will be more unified because of this challenging time. And they've become our teachers, as you say, a ray of hope. What I'm hoping is that we'll see this as an opportunity to let our athletes teach us about a unified community, about living unified in the day after, where we have to rewrite the narrative of who we are as a society.
Well, let me ask you talk about unify the day after, but special needs athletes in many cases do lead, let's say, more isolated lives than many of us, just simply because of physical limitations. Is that help them in terms of coping with their situation to then really give some guidance to those of us who don't have these issues?
It's absolutely, as you said, they have faced this kind of challenge and isolation, social isolation, isolation of acceptance, really throughout their lives, in employment, in education, in healthcare. What we at Special Olympics Israel and Special Olympics as a movement globally, we want to raise awareness of the health needs of our athletes, that the day after Corona, we all deserve equal access to healthcare, and we are aiming to engage clinical directors and the medical community to learn how to work with our athletes, how to communicate with them, so that they see our athletes as deserving of exactly the same equal access to health.
Right. Now, Sharon, just last week I spoke with Sagi Muki, the Israeli judo champ, who was looking forward to this summer's Olympics, really was considered a real medal hopeful for Israel. What about the Special Olympic athletes? I mentioned they're really exceptional. They've won so many medals over the years. How are they dealing with the, I guess, somewhat disappointment of the cancellations here, and also the issue of training, which, as Sagi Muki said, for him so difficult. He can't fight against anyone, and Special Olympics athletes perhaps even more difficult to engage in training.
So we have online training sessions with our athletes a number of times a week in terms of keeping healthy lifestyles, healthy eating, thinking positively, and really maintaining mentally and physically a healthy lifestyle as much as you can. We also communicate with them all the new guidelines that come out. Sometimes it's difficult for them to access the information, and we simplify it for them. We communicate it with them so that they know exactly what they can, what they cannot do. And we hope for better days very quickly. But
I also, on the issue of training, is it just simply online? I mean, is it even possible for some of these athletes to engage in any kind of training during this current period?
Absolutely. Our team, our staff, every week, a few times a week, we meet on Skype, we meet on Zoom. We've sent them instructions, accessible instructions, how to download these applications, and we do fitness sessions all together.
Right. In terms of the Olympics, we are aware the Summer Olympics now have been delayed for 1 year. What about the Special Olympics? What is the status of that, or of some of the other major meets that usually happen during the course of the sporting year?
So there was meant to be Winter World Olympic Games in 2021. We don't, unfortunately, know the status of this yet.
Where was that going to be?
Sweden.
And when was that going to be?
At middle October 2021.
So as of now, you have not heard in terms of that.
As of now, it's likely that it'll be cancelled.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
But we're looking forward to the World Summer Games of Berlin 2023.
Is there one special example that you can give of a specific athlete that you found especially inspiring during this period?
There's just so many. It's one of the athletes saying, I find it very difficult to wear a mask. I'll find it difficult to breathe. I'll get anxious. And we spoke about how to do this, and she came up with the idea of that she looked for someone to help her find a mask where she can actually show her lips, and that her mouth will be transparent, so that people will be able to see if she's smiling, if she's anxious, because for her communicating is more challenging. So once she has the mask that we can see her lips.
I'm sorry, what is her disability that she's...
Intellectual disability.
I see.
Intellectual disability, yes.
Okay, so she's communicating more with her face, so she needed a special mask in order to do that.
And I just found that so inspiring.
It is indeed. Well, hopefully this situation will soon lessen to some degree, and these athletes, like all of Israel's athletes, will be able to get back into training and into competition. Sharon Levy, Balanga of the Special Olympics, thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much.